Hey everyone, the name's Jose, aka Mega Man NG, and this is my first ever Pokemon Black Wi-Fi battle. My opponent today is a friend of mine, Hss2345. He has a YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description. So anyway, he starts off with an Iwa Paresu, and I start off with a Blaziken, and I'm nervous doing this, so bear with me. I go first with a Thunder Punch, doing some damage, while he sets up some Stealth Rocks, which is pretty much not good for me indeed, and I knew for a fact that it wasn't going to go good for me. So I go at it again for another Thunder Punch, bringing its HP down, but not less than half. He goes for a Stone Edge, which does some pretty good damage, but considering that Blaziken is part fighting, it sort of cancels it out. I go at it again with another Thunder Punch, and remember, my Blaziken is Choice Scarf, so I'm limited to just one move, while he sets up some Spikes, and I was thinking Stealth Rocks and Spikes are not a very good combination. So I go at it again with another Thunder Punch, bringing his HP down on a red, and he sets up another layer of Spikes, which brings it to 2 layers. I go at it again for one more Thunder Punch, and I take him down. I gotta admit, his sprite looks pretty cool, especially for a shiny though. Gray with a pitch of green. So anyway, he sends out Shibirudan while I had to make a switch, and I didn't want to feel the wrath of some major attack, so I send out Electivire. And Electivire suffers some Stealth Rock damage and some Spike damage. Shibirudan uses Crunch, and it brings his HP down to the yellowish, something around 65 HP, while I go for a Brick Break because Shibirudan has Levitate, making Earthquake about pretty pointless. He goes for a Flamethrower, and I was thinking this must be a mixed Shibirudan, and I was really in trouble just by seeing that. So anyway, I had to do something about it, so I send out my Alakazam to the battlefield, and right away it suffers Stealth Rocks and Spike damage, like losing about 70 HP or so. So he makes a switch, and he sends out some weird jellyfish-type Pokemon named Burungeru. I use a Stab Choice Spec Psychic, and it brought its HP down to a pretty good amount, but I can tell it was basically EV trained in the defensive department. After gaining some leftovers, I decided to make a switch because I knew he would try to do something like Shadow Ball or something. So I go to Staraptor, and it suffers Stealth Rock damage, and considering it's weak to Rock types, it's not a very good thing. After the Intimidate, which lowers its attack power by 1 level, Burungeru uses Recover, which regains all its HP back. So I guess that Psychic attack I must have done must have been pretty pointless. So anyway, I had to do something, so I used U-Turn, which I should have used something else like Brave Bird, since it wasn't that helpful, but I at least get a free switch, which gives me a different plan of attack. I made a good prediction with that, so I sent out Rose Raid, and after the Stealth Rock and Spike damage, Burungeru uses Will-O-Wisp, which sort of crippled Rose Raid physically, if it was a physical Rose Raid, but it isn't. So with the burn, I was thinking to myself, this is pretty bad, while Burungeru gets leftovers and I take damage from the burn. He makes a pretty good switch, and he sends out a Pokemon that I really despise, next to Blissey, which is basically Chansey. And I always thought to myself, if Blissey was that bad, it makes me wonder what Chansey was. So I used Sleep Powder to put it to sleep, unaware that he knew about this. So he makes a switch and sends out Scizor, because that Chansey had Natural Cure and made that even pointless. I go for a Leaf Storm to try to at least dish out some damage, but due to Scizor's high resistance to grass, it ain't come close. I suffer the special attack drop, but that gets negated due to White Herb, and thanks to the burn, my turns become limited. So I had to do something, and I use a Shadow Ball, and I can tell that Scizor was pretty much bulking the HP department. So it goes for Pursuit, and my guess is due to its high attack, it basically takes down my Rose Raid. I guess it was pretty pointless, I guess, but due to Life Orb, it wouldn't really matter. So I send out my own tank, which is Empoleon, and Empoleon has helped me in more battles than you can possibly imagine. After Stealth Rock and Spike damage, Scizor decides to go for a Swords Dance, which raises attack power up by 2 levels. And I was thinking to myself, what should I do? So I counterattack with an Iron Defense, raising its defense by 2 levels, and I thought it'd be the next best thing. At least after all, I have leftovers on this Empoleon, that's for sure. So it goes for Brick Break, and I thought normally Brick Break would take down Empoleon, but thanks to the Iron Defense I had it earlier, it survived with 34 HP. Thank God for Iron Defense. So I use a Hydro Pump, and I miss, which was so lame. What could I do? It was like, nah, I needed that. So Scizor does a Bullet Punch, and I guess my opponent made a miscalculation, thinking he would try something else. But I try a Hydro Pump again, and it hits, thank God. Taking out that Scizor, would be basically a serious threat, almost as much as Chansey. So after Leftovers recovery, I was thinking to myself, what would he send out next? So he sends out Burungeru, and considering that my Empoleon is slower, it uses Nightshade, taking out, or how I put this, dealing 100 damage to Empoleon, knocking it out. A bummer indeed. So anyway, after the leftovers recovery that Barungaru gained, I decided to do something about it. So I sent out Alakazam, thinking that he would try something, and the Stealth Rock and Spike damage kicked in, bringing its HP down to 100. So I decided to play a little trick or treat with it, so I used Trick to switch its items. So Barungaru ends up with Choice Specs, and I ended up with leftovers. And that was a pretty good prediction, though. Barungaru uses Recover, which is pretty pointless, but it didn't matter because my Alakazam now has leftovers, and he can regain health every turn, at least by 15 HP. So he makes a switch and sends out his Chansey, which I do believe is basically a special and physical wall, but I was about to experience that firsthand when Alakazam uses Psychic, and it didn't do much. But at least I get the leftovers, which regains its health by 15. I go a Focus Blast because normally Focus Blast has an accuracy of 70. I'm grateful that it actually did hit, considering the fact that Alakazam is high in special attack. But Chansey decides to use Wish, and I was thinking, holy shit, what the hell? Oh well, at least Alakazam uses leftovers for recovery and then uses a Psychic attack, bringing Chansey's HP down to less than half. It goes for a Seismic Toss, dishing out 100 damage because Seismic Toss is like Nightshade, dishing damage based on the Pokemon's level, and that's when everything began to go downhill. Wish comes true, Chansey gets more health, and I'm like, fuck. What the hell did I do wrong now? Anyway, Alakazam gains more HP, and it uses Focus Blast, though it really wouldn't matter anyway, considering it would be knocked out this turn. But I at least had to do something, otherwise I'd be like forfeiting or anything like that, but I didn't want to forfeit. So Chansey uses Seismic Toss, dishes 100 damage to Alakazam, and it goes down. What do you want me to do? Oh God, I'm not used to this sort of thing. So I send out my Staraptor, and due to Stealth Rock damage, it takes some pretty sharp damage, which now brings its HP to around 148. After Intimidate lowers its attack, it makes a switch and sends out Barungaru, which I have to admit, he made a pretty good play, a good prediction, because I was using Close Combat and it didn't work. So I had to make the switch, and I think I really made a really bad play here, because I should have used Brave Bird instead, but I switched, and I switched to Blaze again, but thanks to Stealth Rock and Spike's damage, it doesn't even get a chance to be on the field. Barungaru uses Nightshade and takes it down. I was like, no, this just can't be happening. But at least I'm enjoying it, so I thought to myself, hey, what the hell, why don't we end it with a bang? So you know what I did? Staraptor was sent out, Intimidate kicks in, attack goes down for Barungaru, and I use Brave Bird, which is the only attack I can use because Barungaru is part Ghost, making returns seem pretty useless. And even if I were to use U-turn, that'd be pretty pointless. So I took out Barungaru at a massive cost. Staraptor goes down, I have no Pokemon left, I lose the match. It was fun, but hey, what can you do? Anyway, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, and if you like it, please let me know what you think of my narration. I hope to hear from everyone, and I'll see you all next time.